Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Married Artists. We are married.
And we're also artists. Today, guys, we're going to talk about what we learned doing the mural at Pats Cafe. Maybe you've seen it at the end of 2nd Street, right across from Portsmouth Brew Pub. We're going to show you the nitty-gritty of what we learned, the good and the bad.
How did this project come to be?
Well, Tim Glockner went to get a beer at Pats Cafe one day, and he got to talking with the owner, Morris, heard that he was a Vietnam veteran, and he got interested in the mural that was already on the outside of Pats Cafe, done by some guy in the late 80s. It's got an American flag draped behind it, soldiers, helicopters, and
what was interesting, I thought, was the guy that they left unfinished. They said he was in there because he died.
And Tim just wanted to see that finished, so he got a grant through Glockner Toyota, and he put us on the job. What do you think was the most time-consuming part when it came to our materials, when we're trying to do a full-color mural like this?
We did the whole mural just by mixing primary colors to get every single color that we created. We had to make exactly enough for whatever it was that we were painting.
We had to make sure we had enough of it, and we didn't want to use too much because then we'd waste paint.
Yeah.
It was pretty challenging. Also, everything was really reference heavy. Morris was a big help with that, actually, the owner of the bar. He was telling us that, you know, M16s in 68 and 69 had a triangular suppressor, triangular tip on the suppressor, kind of like funneled down. Just little details like that, that if someone wasn't there from the era, it would have been harder for us to recognize that those are the sort of things that should be incorporated.
I like that we even included that one guy's saying that he wrote on his helmet.
Just let me go naturally. Mm-hmm. And so we incorporated that as one of the sayings that's written around the green part, the green frame of the piece.
Yeah, all of those things were things that they wrote on their helmets and stuff, right?
The Vietnam War had a kind of guerrilla looking aesthetic to it, and so the helmets became like a big signature. People were drawing like rat fink and all kinds of, they were just doing it up with flames, or we incorporated that aesthetic into the whole border. Something else we learned is that Heather and I's styles are very different, and we both had different expectations of what this thing was going to look like.
One thing that we had to work through is I wanted to include like a black border around the characters. I thought it would make it more like bold. And you didn't want to add the black lines because you wanted the characters, to do all the shading and stuff and not have to use the black lines.
Eventually I became okay with it. You convinced me that it was a good idea. I did want to push the render, like I did want to push the dimension and shading on the characters a little bit more. And you were probably ready earlier to start adding more of a cartoon aesthetic to it. Ultimately, what we achieved was a pretty good mix, and ended up being an epiphany for us in the project.
By the end of the project, we realized that we can only work within our skills and our style to complete this job that we have to do. We learned to accept our own style.
Something more like a hard realism is what I was thinking in the very beginning. And I really needed Heather to help lead me down that direction, because I was fighting it a lot from the beginning. It just fit so naturally for us that the rest of the project came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is the big quote through the background that says, "It's our duty to remember." I think that was like a very meaningful piece that we added to it, just because we were trying to create some sort of memorial for all the veterans that go to Pats Cafe. Everything in the end really flowed together.
I also really liked how the helicopters turned out. I mean, those look super. My personal favorite of mine from the very beginning was the Sharpie writings that were on all the soldiers' helmets.
Yeah.
Little details like that I really enjoyed, like the Grim Reaper being in there, and Rat Fink, and people putting the Ace of Spades in their helmet, or the bug juice, the little bottles.
Stories they would stop and tell us about their experiences, and
yeah. Yeah, Morris, of course, is a very colorful character. The bar owner. He did 3 tours in Vietnam, and he was a helicopter gunner.
And I love his dog.
Yes, and his dog's very cute. Bye now. And I'm telling all the people bye.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see ya.
See ya.
Later.